No, for sure.
All right. All right. Welcome to another episode of The More You Know. My apologies for this episode being late. We both, me and my guest, both had something to do that came up. So,
Life.
yeah, life first. But I'm joined today with Joshua Franklin, my good friend. We go back all the way to the Chipotle days. And Josh, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, for sure. What up, though, everybody? My name is Joshua Franklin, and yeah, me and Brian, pretty much, yeah, we go back to a couple years back in Chipotle, and before then, just a brief introduction of myself. Essentially, I mean, God, like the last what 4 years, 5 years, pretty much just been doing professional wrestling. It's like after I graduated college from Tiffany University, I just really wanted to do what I want to do, man. And I followed my started to follow the dream of just being a professional wrestler, and I was like, why not? And then a couple years later, go down the path, and here we are right now. And I'm signed to a company. Not gonna particularly say the name of the company, but actually, screw it, whatever. I'll say the name. I signed with Impact Wrestling, and but yeah, people were able to, um, at least admire my work from the time that I started to now. And just the fan base has grown, and I'm very thankful for it. And it's cool because even during these times, like we haven't had a show, dude. Like last like real big like show pre-COVID was I want to say March. It was right after my birthday. Like, so I want to say like probably March or April, like first April. But that was right when COVID hit. And yeah, man, like right when COVID hit, also that's why I signed my contract, for the Impact Wrestling. So it was like a lot of things were going to take off, and so for all that to be kind of put on ice for right now, because a lot of people are doing empty arena shows just for their like the athlete safety and also staff and fan safety. A lot of the fans have still remain hardcore dedicated to me and my work, and for those who don't know, just just type in Jackson Stone, and we can go from there. So yeah, man, honestly, it's like it's been a fun journey, and um I can't wait to see like how it's gonna be in the next I'll say like 10, 20 years. I hope it can pay dividends and pay official. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I remember the first time when you told me that you were a professional wrestler when we worked
Yeah.
at Chipotle, and I was like, dude, there's no way. Like at that time, like at that time, I was still keeping up with the WWE.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I was like, so do you like that type of wrestling? And then you
Yeah.
showed me your like highlights on your phone, and then I was like, dude, there's no way. This is awesome.
Dude, I remember that too, because that I think that day or that week, one of our coworkers, she was like, "There's no way," and I was like, "Yeah, watch," and I just picked her up as if I was going for like a vertical suplex on her.
we had to we had to remind you like whoa, you're, you're not in character right now.
I was like, oh man, she was like paper. It was like picking up paper, man. It's so light. I was like, man, I wish more people could be like that. But yeah, man, yeah, it's been a fun journey so far, bro. And honestly, man, like it's crazy because I was just talking to one of my buddies about that. I have we have like road buddies because I mean, essentially, wrestling is kind of like it's kind of like for those who want, I guess, a more inside perspective on it. It's kind of like being a comedian or being like yeah, like kind of like
Yeah.
a traveling band because you have you have what you do, you have your talents, you have your strengths, and you pretty much just you travel the land, you travel the country, you travel wherever you can go to wherever there's a show you go to, and you build up thankfully, man, because of social media, we can we can just pretty much post we can just set a camera right there next to the ring and just post our matches right there instead of like having to splice up different footage and put it into a VHS tape, yes, those, and then shipped off to other promoters hoping that they see it. Now we can just pretty much literally have a phone right there and just cast everything that we're doing to our
Mhm.
fans, and it's just really cool to be able to to be in that, I guess, be in that time, to be in this day and age, even with everything going on. It's just cool to be able to still have that connection with the fans. And I mean, wrestling as itself, man, is I feel like even with everything going on, it's in a very high um a high want factor. Like people really want more wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. When you told me that, well, when you said that when you would just prop up your camera and you could record your matches, it kind of made me like get a better perspective of like how much you've grown, because when I added you on Facebook for the first time, I was seeing your matches that you would post, and it looked like something shot from a cell phone. But now when you post your like actual content and it's like you promotion, I feel like I'm watching the WWE, and like the production quality of it has increased dramatically.
Oh yeah,
And getting
thank you, man.
into that, yeah, no problem. How did you get into wrestling? It I like were you like me when I was a kid and you watched WWE, and you would wrestle a teddy bear, and then you were like, wow, I kind of want to do this.
It's funny. Like my teddy bear was actually like this huge ass, like oh my gosh, it was like this big, like big gorilla. It was like the stuffed gorilla we won at Cedar Point, and
Oh,
I remember.
those were the best ones to do it to, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was like life size. And then pretty much I was just doing like all like just every single move I saw on TV. I saw, I was just doing it there. And I was born in '91, so for me, my era of wrestling, a lot of the guys um that are kind of like the '80s, like they love like Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and all them, and they're cool. But I grew up with in the age of Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, back when like that
That's like the
era was really
Attitude
hot.
Era.
Yeah, yep, like the Attitude Era, exactly. And like Triple H was there, and you had Mankind, Undertaker. It's just like and also too, you turn the channel and you see like WCW on that channel on TNT. So it was cool to kind of grow up in that age of just constant wrestling, and but good wrestling, like really, not to say like wrestling's not good now. I mean, wrestling's phenomenal, like now it still is, but it's just during that time, man, it's just, I don't know if it's because we're kids and everything just seems a lot more.
It's
You
very
just,
PG now.
yeah, it just it's just something where it's just you as a, it's nothing like your first time. Let's just gonna say that it's nothing like your first time really
Yeah.
really fall in love, like what I'm saying. And like for me, nothing's ever going to equate to Stone Cold driving down like the aisleway with a beer truck spraying the Rock down. Like that's
Man,
just dope.
good times, man.
No, I'm telling you, man. So yeah, have you ever been to one of those shows, by the way?
To be honest, no. I kind of
No.
wish that I went to WrestleMania 23 when it was in Detroit, but
Oh
I've
man,
never
me
been to
too.
a show, dude. They look hype though. They look hype.
Oh, brother, if you love concerts, you'll love a wrestling show. That's saying yes. For me, I always look at like wrestling shows as like, I mean, because like we're like, I feel like we're one of the oldest type forms of showmanship, and um circuses, man. I just love how circuses, like especially back in the vaudeville days, you look at how they were orchestrated. It's kind of like just organized chaos. It's just everything was just going on. You look at the Ringley brothers, you just had all these different types of animals and people going through different contortionists, all this crazy stuff. That's kind of like how a wrestling show is. Like it's basically like
Hmm.
you have your athletic people over here, you have your hardcore bouts over here, you have your women fighting each other over here, you have your big men over here, you have the mystique crazy individuals over here, you have the boss figures over here. It's so many different types of personalities, man.
Hmm.
And I think the cool part about it is like every promotion is different, so nothing's ever really the same. I mean, you can say that it has the same concept, but for the most part, wrestling to me is just a universal language. Professional wrestling, that is. It's a
I
universal language.
yeah, I totally agree. Can you walk me through the training that you would have to do to when you're preparing for your first match? What type of training goes into a wrestling match? Like, how do you learn all of the techniques?
Man, I ain't telling you shit. No,
You
I
can't
got
reveal
you.
the secrets. Vince McMahon comes crashing down your wall, saying, "No, no, you can't do that."
Man, honestly, bro, like my first time, I mean, well, to hark back earlier, like us living in the day and age of technology, it's so easy to like try to connect and try to see what's going on. Where you can find a school. Back in like God, back in what, like the '90s, and even yeah, back in the '90s, even early 2000s, they had to like look around phone books and really see, hey, like where the closest school is. Sometimes you don't really know. you wouldn't really know if the school you go to is honestly like legit. So there'll be some guys I remember hearing stories. Some guys saying that they would travel like hours out to school and just to be kind of like, oh man, this is it. But for the most part, it was kind of like a toss up. But when they did find a school, it was like it was all good. But luckily with Facebook, man, it was like after I graduated, literally I went on Facebook and I started searching. I just typed in like just wrestling schools around me, and like one school popped up, the House of Truth, and then another one popped up, and another one, and I was like, oh well, you know what? Let's see what's going on in Ohio, because I just graduated from Tiffin University, and Tiffin University is located like about, I would say, 3.5 hours away from Detroit in Ohio. So honestly, bro, like for me, my mindset was like, let me just see what's going on in Ohio, and also to my girlfriend was down there, so I wanted to she was finishing up school. I was like, why not start this while I can kick it with her. We could build ourselves up. And honestly, from there, man, I searched. I found probably like the luckiest search ever in finding Mega Championship Wrestling. That's the school that I trained at, and my trainer, Brandon Xavier, was just to me, man, just probably one of just like the best trainers that anybody could ever ask for, bro. Just like for me, I'm a big competitor, and the biggest compliment you can give a competitor is to train them really hard and to coach them up properly. And to have like a trainer to actually do that, I mean, you want to be able to find a trainer that really knows what he's doing, and Brandon definitely did that. And it was cool because it wasn't just him; it was my other trainer, James West. He also went by Graham Wellington back, when he was back when he was wrestling. I don't think he is anymore. Yeah, he's not anymore. He's just full time dad, living that dad life. But he was pretty much like the guy who taught a lot of the, I guess say like he edged out our fundamentals, whereas like where Brandon would that's my trainer's name, my head trainer's name, Brandon Xavier. He would teach me the, I guess you say, the more aggressive side, the kind of bring out the like the raw talent, if you will. James really just he just man, every single thing of like from movement to just how to position, ring positioning, he was just on it. So it felt good to have that dichotomy of training.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you want to be able to have that too, man, because there's a lot of guys, not gonna say who, but there's a lot of people who will just release people out there to be graduates of wrestling, and it's not safe. But for the most part, it's yeah, man, I'm very thankful for the class, like for the school that I went to in Brandon and Mega Championship Wrestling, and the people that I've interacted with from that school.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree that it's important to have a good relationship with your trainer because speaking from like a workout perspective, and I'm just going to consider my friends in the gym and my trainers too,
Yeah,
it's good when they push you to become better. It's like if there's one thing that I like about my workout friends is that they can call me out on my bullshit whenever I'm half-assing something, and
right, right.
and then when they are doing that, I know that they're not trying to like get on, well, like hurt me, but like they're just trying to improve me as a person. And I think that's very important to have when you're looking for like a workout partner or even a trainer or just a trainer that can always get your back and always call you out when you need to be called out.
Most definitely. And dude, I guess he was that person, man. He was that, he still is, it still is, we still have like a really good relationship, and he still like checks on me every now and then, especially like when wrestling was going on hardcore. He would just always check on like how the matches were. He was really excited for the Impact thing. So yeah, man, it's the foundation. Just find a really trusting trainer, a really trusting person who knows what they're doing.
Gotcha. And apart from the physical side of it, for like the training part, there's also the acting part of it. Um, Tell me, how did you find your character Shogun, and how did you learn to initially act?
Well, I'm gonna correct you a little bit on this one, because I don't usually look at, for me, I don't usually look at it as acting, because for me it's wrestling is you. It's literally, professional wrestling is literally you, your personality turned up to 10. To
Yeah,
me, I've always felt like, and I try to go to like a deep, I guess psychology dive on it, but like to me, I feel like Shogun has always been in me, in my psyche. It's always been who I was as a person. it's just been watered down, if you will, through who I am as Josh, as people would know me. But it's been aspects of Shogun that's been in my life, and it's just in flashes. Like my father, he was my sensei growing up. Like he was my judo instructor growing up. So always, man, he would always like get me going for tournaments and training me running heels and all. So I remember we first walked into the gym when I was I want to say I was 12, 12 or 13. It was like just gritty gym with a boxing ring in there, couple boxing bags around, and just a gritty type of weight room. And he just taught me how to get strong from that point, man. And honestly, it was just building up that character, and because I was always enthralled into like just Japanese culture and just martial arts culture, more so the Bushido code of just understanding oneself and just really going by that regimen. And for me, I was able to like, kind of like move that into my wrestling in high school and also in college wrestling as well. So because it all kind of just meld together. So I mean, yeah, I remember taking like Japanese like language classes when I was doing judoka with my sensei, and even now it's funny, like we still talk. He still like references those. So yeah, man, it was for me. I feel like Shogun was in my character, was in me. It just turned up. Like I can actually let my hair down, proverbial hair down.
I got you. Yeah, it's very hard because like when I would watch the WWE, you would see these ridiculous like characters that they would have, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if like they chose to be that character or if like the network assigned it. So I didn't know if like in what well where you are in
Mm-hmm.
wrestling, if you chose your character and if you needed to do like acting school, I want to say,
Hmm. You
but
you
yeah.
know, I take that as a compliment a lot, man. Actually, because but like it's funny because yeah, there's really no. It's just doing it. Honestly, it's like it's a fight. At the end of the day, it's like it's what we're doing. I mean, okay, you go see a movie and you go see the Avengers. We use that, and you want to see Robert Downey Jr. portray Robert Downey Jr. and I mean portray Tony Stark and that's essentially with us. You see this individual who has this type of personality within them, and they want it, and they wanted to let it out. And it's like an entertainment factor to that. And for me, I look at it as what I look at as dope. I don't really, yeah. And this is gonna sound selfish, but from an artistic standpoint, bro, I don't really care likes who likes it or not. When I came up with Shogun, like the Suplex Shogun, it was honestly just like, you know what? I'm really feeling this. I'm really gonna do it. And I had actually a couple detractors from it, like, oh, you really gonna try that? People aren't gonna really understand uh like a hip hop esque Shao Kahn type character, and and in your comic book ways of thinking. And for me, I saw it as just like this is what I want to do. This is what I vision, and I feel like when you have a vision with a plan and you're able to really go through that plan, dude, it's no better feeling, man. It's no better feeling because it's like everything just plays out how you thought. Everything just plays out like like with how you inscribed in your head. And Shogun literally started for me watching Afro Samurai and mailed into me, playing Mortal Kombat, and then also kind of went into me playing more video games because I was just like kind of talking trash to somebody. And I just went with the well. And that just kind of like one thing just led to another, man. And really it's about finding a foundation. Wrestling is this equivalent to life. I really do equate it to life. It's like you find your foundation, your character, or your personality, who you are. You identify who you are, and honestly, bro, you just kind of advance yourself each time.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like that you chose to do something and portray a character that you like and you didn't care what other people thought because I feel like if you would have changed that character like in some type of way just to fit the audience needs, then you wouldn't have such a tight connection with it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, man. And yeah, you have to have a deep connection with what you're doing, or else honestly, you're just going through the motions. And I mean, unfortunately, I see that. I do see that in a lot of guys because I feel like, or in a lot of people who are wrestling sometimes, who kind of hit that plateau because they get caught up in I feel like they get caught. A lot of people can get caught up in this. Is also in life, get caught up in what other people may think they want to do. So like like you're doing something, but then you think, oh well, this person may want me to do it a certain way. Well, now you're kind of using that person's energy, which is not yours. So
Hmm.
and then you're not, now you're projecting something that's completely a lie to you.
Yeah, yeah. It's the way that I want to say that this is like Instagram. People
Yeah,
try to post pictures of what people think that they want. They try to fake it till they make it, really.
yeah,
And
they
what
do.
they post is not their real life. And I feel like in like wrestling, if you modified your character, then you just wouldn't have joy, like act well being that character when you wrestle,
Yeah, and I mean, and don't
and
get
it
me
takes
wrong,
the
man.
fun
Like
out of it.
it does, it does, and don't get me wrong. Like, I've had alterations of Shogun in my head, but they're my alterations,
Yeah.
and not even Shogun. Like that's the thing. Like, dude, it's such a even like a crazier, deeper thought to this. So like, Shogun is just an extension of who I am. There's other extensions. Like there's other. If Shogun wasn't what I could do, I have another person or another personality I wouldn't mind bringing out for the crowd to experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just like the that's the freedom of wrestling. Really, you can literally do whatever you want, bro. Like that's the best part about wrestling. You can walk out and just be whatever you want. Like just be whatever you want and have no real qualms about it. Like nobody can come to you and judge you on. Like you can honestly be whatever you want, and it's tough when some people kind of put themselves in that box,
Hmm.
because like they get so stuck in like oh, I gotta look this way, I gotta look that way, I gotta be portrayed this way. No, you got your own thought, you got your own feel, you got what you are. Embrace that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do with Shogun, man.
That's awesome. Take me to, well, backtrack that.
Yeah.
How do you like when you're first getting started? How did you get booked? How do you get your first match, and how do you get your second match?
hmm
Do you like
well,
sign up for these, or like does like a agency have to come scout you?
got you. Yeah, but for me, it was. I mean, again, it's just like school. It's just like you find your school, you go to your school, and I'm gonna base this off the program that I went through. I'm not gonna say off like I'm gonna give you just my experience. Like this was
Yeah.
mine, and I feel like this is like, and I'm maybe brag on this one, but I have the right to brag. I had the best possible school to go to because I had a trainer that understood wrestlers that understood what it is to be a young wrestler and hungry. He trained us really hard, and he had a regimen on and a schedule, and he said, I want you guys to be able to be based off your training, based off your progression of that, I want you to be able to be you know able to have a match in this amount of time. So like I want to say I started January 5th. My first bump was January 5th, and my first actual show bump was, I want to say, April. Yeah, my first actual match was in April, and it was really just man, it was so crazy because it was against this guy named Ben Boone, and he was just a great guy. And I remember just like jitters before the match, man, like it's just real jitters before the match because I didn't really know, like, you have things in your head about what you want to do and how you want to do it, but it's nothing like out there doing it, in practical motion.
Hmm.
And because that's just all wrestling is, bro. It's all practical. It's all, you do it. You practice it, you do it, and you practice it and you do it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you go back to the drawing board. This is my first time going. I don't have a drawing board, so how the hell, you know what I'm saying? So how the hell do I do it? So and the best part about it is really just you go out there and you just really experience it, and you kind of annotate certain parts in your head. All right, this worked, this worked, this is me, this is not me, this is definitely what I should do, and you kind of just grow with it. And for me, I had I still have like this little journal of just like of Shogun thoughts, like just what my personality in that sense will be feeling or thinking, and that in itself also helps me improve my presentation of Shogun for people to understand, because I understand he's a lot. He can be a lot for some people. He can kind of be like, whoa, what's going on? And it's important for me to be able to find different ways to present that to the individual that's watching.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you said, thank you for saying that earlier. It's been a growth process, but it's been a process, and I feel like I've steady growth, man, steady growth. That's what we're about.
Steady growth is the most healthiest growth.
Hmm.
Growth, but t- take me through your first experience just coming out to your entrance music. What were you feeling, and like, how do you get over like hundreds, thousands of eyes just looking at you, either booing you, cheering you, like, I don't get how people can do that sometimes because it just looks like intense to me.
You know what, man? Like it's man. Um, okay, so all right, so
Nostalgic days.
yeah, I do, and even now, man, like it just gets me hyped because I just thought I had a show recently where people were just chanting Shogun. It just gets me so freaking hyped. But dude, like, okay, so just take you back for the training real quick. So the training consists of us bumping a lot, doing a lot of back bumps, doing a lot of flip bumps, gymnastics, all stuff, running ropes, just fitness test type of stuff. And then later on, they would add the certain pressures that you will feel in a match. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
there'd be particular times when, so let's say, we I remember when we were kind of close to kind of having our actual first match, me and my class, which only consists of like 4 or 5 people, and I remember we were doing practices, we were doing different situations and all that stuff, and there'd just be certain pressures that my trainer would throw in. He would start booing. He would start cheering. He would actually, um, if a person would mess up or whatever, you're like, no, no, keep it going, keep going, don't stop, don't stop. And you as a new person into this type of art style have to learn how to improvise. So now it's like it kind of like it's a muscle. That improvisation is kind of like is a real big muscle to use. And when you walk out, it's you exercise that muscle, man. It really is. Like you just kind of go off. You just kind of go with it. That's the best feeling, is just going with it. When you walk out, and I mean, there's been times where I walked out and I've had a crowd split. I've had a
Like,
group of
leave?
people. No, 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 no.
Oh.
That's
I was
no,
like,
no. That hey man, if I do that, damn, I'm probably scaring some people. I'm probably scaring some kids. But it's like, no, like actually, no, the kids love it. But no, I walk out and then they'd be like on one half, be like people who are just booing, who kind of relate more to the person who's in the ring that I'm about to face off against. Then there'd be
mhm.
people who would cheer, and they love seeing me just like throw people around and do the whole like just chant Shogun and go crazy. And I love the end of that match because like you see the turn of people. Those people who were booing are like, oh man, this guy was, he brought us something. And the people who are cheering like, yeah, see, we told you. And so it's just like, so it's pretty cool to like kind of have that reaction. And when I walk out, man, when I'm God, when I get booed, like, oh my God, I was just, you'll have a lot of people in the wrestling business say like it's so good being a bad guy, because it's like being on defense for football. You can literally do whatever you want, it feels. And it'd be fine. So for me, I enjoy the human mind. I enjoy trying to pressing buttons, and wrestling just gives me a perfect excuse and a perfect like leeway to do so. So when a person gets up in my face and they try to step the Shogun, it's just, all right, now how far can I take this without scaring this person? And then it's so fun seeing the reactions of so many, and then getting them to be fans, because again, I feel like it becomes a respect thing that they appreciate the work, whether I'm beating up their favorite wrestler or I'm winning a belt for it, and they're cheering me. It's definitely something where it's like a again a universal connection. Wrestling is just such an interesting universal connection. Um, Literally, you take that concept and put it in any part of the world, bro, and everybody will get it. You put a different parts of the galaxy, people would get it. The bad guy, like the one guy who's talking crap to the crowd, walks out. He doesn't like anybody. Whatever, I don't need you guys. The other guy walks out. All right, guys, come on, let's get this. I need y'all energy. That's just like everybody can relate to a underdog or a jerk.
Hmm.
A person. Everybody can relate to that. So it's again, to me, wrestling is just universal language.
It's crazy that you actually bring this up because now that I think back about me watching wrestling and like who I would root for and who I would like, and the more that I think about it, I did have like a deeper connection with mostly the heroes,
Right.
except if you're The Rock. Like
Hmm.
when The Rock was a villain, I was like, you're still like a fitness icon, so I still
Right.
respect it, and he's pretty
Right.
funny. But
Right.
I never realized that there was like such a emotional connection with the wrestlers that you're watching, and I'm glad that you pointed that out because I've always wondered like why do I like John Cena so much? Why do I tend to go for the cheer for the good guys and not the bad
Hmm.
guys?
Hmm. Yeah, like honestly, do like that's I'm just gonna chime off of that. Like that's so true. Like I feel that like, wrestlers are like could be could be America's top psychologist if we actually care if we cared enough to do it because you're able to. There'd be times where you have to be like, all right, well, what's going on right now? You had to analyze the situation and say, all right, well, what's right now? What's a good move? What are people feeling? And you just go out there and you just do your thing. And you know, there are masters to this game. Trust me, man, there are masters to this game. I'm such a white belt. It's not even funny. And but there's some true masters to this craft, and it's so cool seeing them really work um in front of me, especially when you know the like almost like the language and the movements of you know of wrestling. It's just it's something to see, you know, and then it's something to even see the people react, because there are some people who are just stone cold, like they're not falling for anything, whatever, and then they'll get like that one person that just knows how to get them, and it's just like cool, so good seeing them rise up and like you know just get into the match.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of villains, have you ever been a villain, or have you always been the good guy? Have you ever chose to take the villain path?
You know, you know. Actually, yeah. I mean, yeah. I've been on a couple shows as a bad guy for sure. I mean, I've for me, I always take it as either I'm feeling really aggressive that day, or you getting suplexed just not as much. like, like, it's one of those things like my suplexes come with either a smile or anger. It's neat. It's like you know, and you'll find out by that time on where I am on that spectrum.
Gotcha.
You know, but yeah, it is fun. It is fun being like I guess you say a bad guy. It's fun having that because a lot of people have anger that they want to let out, but I guess that's the fun part about being Shogun. You can always let it out,
hmm
and
hmm
it'd be okay.
Yeah, it's kind of
Because who doesn't want to throw somebody every now and then?
I feel you. I feel you on that. I feel like there's a deeper meaning to that because like I feel like wrestling makes people good guys and bad guys because it's kind of like a representation of life. Like you're
Hmm.
not always going to be the good guy in life. There's going to be times when you're going to be a villain. Like when you are angry or when you are being or just feel like you've been betrayed. So you have anger. And I feel like wrestling's trying to tell you that it's okay. And even your favorite wrestlers can have anger and turn into a villain, but in like a more PG way of representing it. I kind of just thought of that. I don't know if that's like really true, but
Well, you know, honestly, I mean, I feel that it's if you want to talk about just being like the bad guy, I feel like a lot of it also just goes off of you know people feeling misunderstood through life. You know, I mean, a lot of if you look back and just think about like your favorite villain or or favorite movie that has a really powerful villain, it's usually the guy or the woman who thinks that they're right or the person who feels misunderstood, and essentially that's all like that's all it is in a lot of ways. It's showcasing that, and people I feel like a lot of times relate to being misunderstood, which is why I do feel like a lot of people in many ways just appreciate the bad guy in our business. Like a lot of people do have a certain admiration
yeah.
for the bad guy, like a Joker. Like let's say you know we can use cinema like a Joker. There are many people who will try to relate to the Joker, and because you know he has a bit of a he has that relation of people going or you know what people going through, you know, hard times and difficult situations and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree because I have some friends where like we would get in arguments sometimes, and sometimes it would be like, "I like John Cena better. He's gonna win this
Right.
match." No, no, no. Brock Lesnar's gonna win the match. Paul Heyman's gonna coach him, and we just go
Right,
back and
right.
forth. But like now that you say that, I understand why people root for the bad guys all the time now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a certain like I mean, the biggest thing is you want to. Some people want to be people. Some people want to be with people, and the bad guy, in a lot of ways, portrays a certain freedom for people that, I mean, they want maybe. You know, I mean, what you mentioned Brock Lesnar. What does Brock Lesnar portray? Power. You know, a lot of people want that particular power. You
He's
know,
an
a lot of people want
angry,
to.
powerful man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You know, he's like a Viking out here, and a lot of people want to be able to look like that. A lot of people want to be able to feel like that. You know, a lot of people can relate that, just in different ways. They don't necessarily have to be physical; it can be mental. You know, it could be, you know, maybe they're the Brock Lesnar of their field. You know,
Yeah, yeah. And then one last thing before we wrap up.
yeah, yeah,
I see that you do post on your Instagram and Facebook of you with title belts.
yeah.
How do title matches happen, and how does it feel to like carry belts around and like be crowned the champion or the world heavyweight champion?
You know, it's so much fun going through security with the belt. So much fun, but yeah, like it's pretty cool, man. Like I remember my first belt I won. I want to say it was my, oh God, I want to say it was the winter of my first year. I was literally on the edge of getting to my second year, and I was rewarded this belt. Um, and when I won it, man, I was just, it was one of those things. I was like, huh? Oh, me? You know, you know, the first time again, it's just like, wow, this feels really good. And the best part about this too, it was in front of like only 5 people. So you know, it's just like it was one of those moments that you just like really hold dear to yourself. Like, oh, okay, well, I don't care. I like I got something. Like this is cool. You know, this is really feels really good. And then you use that, man, just to grow and you know, I mean, I don't know if you're referring to the picture of me with the lemonade and like laughing with all the belts around me.
I think
Honestly, bro,
so.
like
Yes.
yeah, like I just like that was, I feel like that was one of those moments when I really started to get Shogun even more. You know, it's like, all right, well, this is whatever you feel is right, that's Shogun. You know, like that's literally what I like what I began to go by at that point. Like I was like, well, how am I supposed to be? How am I supposed to be? No, whatever I feel right, that's me.
To get title shot opportunities, do you just call out someone like, "Yo, I want to fight you. Let's go."
A lot of times, honestly, man, it's like it's kind of like the UFC. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, you have to really like, you know, you start off and you know you work your way up, and you pretty much work your way up the card, if you will, and
Gotcha.
you really display yourself more and more, and then you know the more you display yourself, the more people take notice, and you know the more traction you can get. You know, and then next you know it's like, all right, well you're booked for this match. You're like, oh, okay, cool. You know, and then it's like game time at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah. And have you ever been main event?
Yeah, yeah. I've been fortunate to be main event numerous times. It's such a man, it's such a
How does that feel? I like you're watching the whole show happen, and
yeah.
then your time slot of you're the final 30 minutes or something before
Mhm.
everything closes down. Like I feel like that's a lot of pressure.
You know, ah man, like it for real. I got shivers right when I thought about that, bro. Because it's such a fun feeling though. Because like it's something about like okay, you had to like John Cena said it, and I will equate Cena to if you want the Kobe Bryant and or Michael Jordan of our game, like of our industry.
Really, John?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
I'm only saying that because of a lot of what he's done like literally on his own. He didn't have a Rock. He didn't have a Stone Cold like until later on. You know, he had a Rock, but he was already established at that point. You know, Cena in a lot of ways went into hostile crowds almost and literally like turned them into his favor. You know, and it's like so to me, if you were to like I guess draw up like an actual superstar or person like you know to actually be and present your company to, Cena would be that guy. Cena would definitely be like that type of person, in terms of personality and whatnot. You want that individual. Um, Now, man, like it's one of those things where it's just practice makes perfect. Like literally, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become, and that's all main eventing is, man. It's like the first time, it's like you're just almost hurling buckets of like just and you're sweating you sweating so hard. Your warm up regimen isn't really like all the same, but at the same time you feel good. And honestly, for me, I felt nervous only because I wanted to be able to live up to my hype, live up to my standards. But then, two things. One, I feel like when you're an athlete, you kind of you have like this natural feeling of like, I want to perform under pressure, so it's okay. But then two, um, when you when you embrace that pressure, there's so much more positive that can come out of it.
Hmm.
So that was like, yeah, man, that was like my feeling. My first time main eventing, dude. I was sweating bullets, but then once you hit that curtain, bro, all those feelings just kind of go away. Like, just all that anxiety, all that all the bubble guts, right when something big's
Yeah.
about to happen, you got, yeah, all that, every feeling you have just kind of goes away, honestly. And the closer you get to the ring, you just start feeling like a god. You start feeling like a fucking just you start feeling it, and then you get
Yeah.
in the ring, and then you are who you are, and then there it is. Like, here I am.
Yeah. I definitely get what you mean. Like I feel like you're just running on pure adrenaline at that point, thrill and
I,
adrenaline, because you're
yeah,
bringing me back. Like now that you're saying this, it's bringing me back to my track days, and I remember my first varsity track event, and I was in a relay, and I was like the last one. I was the anchor, and I was just waiting, just watching my teammates run toward
right.
me, handing off the baton, and then I was anchor. I got the baton, and all the nervousness just goes away.
Hmm.
And when you're anchor, you are the one running past the crowd, and then once you're running past the crowd and you hear people yelling, you just living on the adrenaline, the thrill, the
Yes,
five
man.
seconds of fame.
Yes.
Like you're bringing me back to it, and I'm just getting so energized right now.
Well,
Like, oh my god,
it's,
I miss it.
see, it's like it's one of those things where some can, some can't. Some can perform under it, some can't. And those who can, it's just a certain type of muscle, man, a certain type of feeling that we get that is just you want more of it. And the more you want, the more you get, because you're working for it, and then it just becomes like almost second nature, and it almost becomes like a vacation when you're first up. It's like, oh, I'm okay, cool, I'm early on the card, nice, all right, let me suplex this dude and get out of here. It's like it's really cool, but once you by developing that pressure muscle, I like to say, it's just like that muscle of just accepting that pressure, dude. It's so much fun because you want more of it, and
Yeah.
I think my biggest pressure moment was honestly facing against like um this guy named Chase Owens, who was really well known across over in Japan, really well known in the states as a wrestler, and he just got done wrestling AJ Styles not too long ago. So he was part of Bullet Club, just amazing. And we had our match, and it's just like, man, like right when I walked out, every nerve just left, every single doubt, every single thing I just had is just left.
Oh god, I'm missing it. I'm missing the days of performing under the lights, just in front of a crowd, man.
It's fun, man. It's nothing like it, bro. Like, and I mean, it reminds me, I guess you can say professional wrestling really reminds me. I guess that's why I really enjoy high school and college wrestling, because it's like, you go out there and that's you. It's only you. Like, there's nobody else. Like, yeah, you got your team, you got your coaches kind of, giving you some tips on what to do and whatnot. But for the most part, every single decision, that's you, man. And you can literally get pinned or you can win a whole match off of your decisions. And it's just so thrilling to feel that way.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
And then one quick question before we wrap
Sorry to
up.
talk your ear off about that, man.
Oh no, it's all good, man. You just brought me back to my track days, and I was like, oh god, I'm getting all emotional now.
I'm happy, bro. Seriously, it feels good.
have you done shows overseas and all that? And if so, like, how did you adjust to such time zones? And like, do you find anything different from wrestling overseas if you do?
I unfortunately yet have not been able to wrestle overseas. Actually, this summer I was getting ready to go to Mexico, so
Oh man.
that whole well, yeah, it's all right though. It's gonna happen. But the closest I've been to wrestling overseas, well, okay. When I say internationally, I've wrestled in Canada. I'm very much a regular in Canada, and like the northern part also. So I mean, in terms of international, yes, but overseas, I cannot wait for that to happen. The farthest I've gotten in terms of overseas was and it's still the United States, Hawaii.
Oh, that's
Hawaii was
awesome.
it was dude, it was probably one of my like most treasured experience, bro, because it's like that whole time it was like of course it's basically like it's little Japan over there. Like
Really?
Hawaii is very little Japan. It's you go there, it's a lot of like Japanese culture, and of course America, not to get too political, America came over there and did the whole thing with their military and said, hey, you know what, let's just chill over here. Literally didn't even say, just like, hey, let's just place looks cool, let's go over here. And so pretty much with that happening, it's just you do see so many different types of cultures, but just like the actual Hawaiian culture, a lot of it's heavily like Japanese, and it's so cool, kind of like seeing all that like that culture, because like really we're right next to it. Like we're if you were to fly just a couple hours, you would hit Tokyo, I believe. I believe you would hit Tokyo. And so it's like one of those things where it's like, damn, like this is okay. If I can do decent here, then I can do decent anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, you know what? Nobody knows me. Nobody even knows who the hell Shogun is. Nobody know who Jackson Stone is. So I went there and I had my match, and the match was on Fight Network, and people really enjoyed it. And man, it's like the feeling of that is like, all right, so 1,000 miles away, people were able to really enjoy it. Okay, awesome. I'm just going to I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing then. And from there went to just going from place to place. Like I went to Colorado, California, um, wrestled over in Nebraska, Wisconsin, New York, and honestly, man, everywhere I realized that everywhere is the same. They just want to see people get thrown.
For real.
They
For real.
they really do.
Where can people find you? Do you have a Instagram, Facebook, highlight reels? Do you do interactive stuff? Where can my fans find my favorite wrestler?
You stop. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? You can actually find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Now the Twitter one goes Jackson_Stone 313. And you can find me on Twitter, Jackson_Stone 31. And you can find me on Facebook. Just type in Jackson Stone.
Awesome. Jackson Stone, can you give us a little goodbye?
Well, well, well. Good night, and Shogun will see you in your dreams.
Perfect. Thanks so much, man.
No problem, man. You take care, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. You too.